Welcome to the Pool Nation podcast, where it's all pool talk. And we ain't talking about netting and jetting or splashing and dashing. We're talking about becoming a nation of pool pros. We talk about the latest products, trends, and training in the pool industry. Now let's welcome your host, with over a decade of industry insider experience and still the reigning champion of Marco Polo, Edgar De Jesus, and his co-host, John JJ Flawless, the fastest netter in the West, and Zach the Pool Boy Nicholas.
Welcome, everyone, to the Pool Nation Live podcast. I am your host, Edgar De Jesus, and yes, I am the reigning champion of Marco Polo, along with John JJ Flawless, the fastest netter in the West, and the famous Zach, the Pool Boy Nicholas. Today, we're talking about on-site inspections, terms of service, maintaining customers' pool equipment, and the upsell on the equipment. This is going to be a John podcast today, 100% brought to you by Flawless Pool Service out of La Quinta, California. How'd you like that, John? No, should I just stick to my normal?
That was terrible, to be honest. I was like, wow.
Sponsored by JJ Flawless Pools from La Quinta, California.
Yeah.
I want to welcome everyone to our live podcast, a podcast where it's all pool talk, and we ain't talking about netting and jetting and splashing and dashing. We're talking about becoming a nation of pool pros. And yes, we will talk about the latest products, trends, and training in the pool industry. But before we get started today, I want to thank our visionary sponsors for this podcast, the Ultimate Pool Tools, the SPPA, Blueberry XL, Aquastar Pool Products, Natural Chemistry, Raypack, Heritage Pool Supply, and our friends at Hayward Pool Products. We want to thank them for their continued support. Zach, good morning. How you doing?
I'm good. It feels like you're channeling your inner Brad. I think you guys have been hanging out too much over the last few weeks.
John he's been like a little bit serious. Look at him. He's got like this serious look. So I just figured if I like threw something completely off track, he would be like, what the hell is this guy doing? Which worked because he was like, yeah, that's not going to work, Edgar.
Yeah. Is that it, Zach? That was your good
I know. He's trying to get away with the least amount possible.
Well, this is the John podcast brought to you by JJ Flawless. So I'm just trying to stay back and shadows.
It's going to be quite the interesting podcast then.
He threw you right under the bus really quick. And by the way, look at how smooth he is. He's just like this. And then he's like, okay, I'm done again. How you doing, John?
I'm doing all right.
Carry this podcast, John, for us. Why don't you?
Right. Let's just go. Right. I'm doing okay. Just grinding every day, going through some busy times for us out here. We're well prepared for it and ready to rock and roll. As far as just looking forward to this podcast, we're getting into the nitty gritty again, talking about the nuts and bolts of business and some of the technical stuff when it comes down to properly acquiring new accounts. We've had some pretty neat questions that have been shot to us. And I know on the last Instagram Live, we had a chance to answer a couple of them. And today we're going to recap on some of them and then go a little bit into detail, but not too much detail of the way we look at picking up an account, 5 points that we make sure we take priority every single time we pick up the phone or when we acquire a new customer. So we're going to give a little bit of a, not complete detail, but a little bit of a recap of it to answer the question. And then we all sat and spoke and said, hey, look, I think this is going to be some good content where we can really get into detail and put it on, upload it, shoot some videos out in Dallas, and then upload it and put it on Poolman University app for our subscribers so they can go back to it any single time. So I'm looking forward to it. But again, I need to be on my best behavior because Edgar scolded me this morning about not shaking the table. Apparently I have a bad habit of doing that while we're doing this podcast.
I don't know what you're talking about.
He can't take any clips. Every time I talk, you can't use clips because every time it's like this. So he's Mitch, take your bracelet off. He's like, don't shake the table. Try to keep still when you're talking, but we'll see how it goes. But I highly doubt I'm going to be successful at it, but I'm going to give it a try. I have an issue. I'm one of those guys. When I was a kid, I used to get smacked by my mom, my godmother, because at the table, I was the kid that was always shaking his foot. When we were sitting down doing anything, I'm always constantly shaking my foot. And imagine everybody eating lunch or eating dinner. And they're like trying because everything's shaking, table, plates are clanking around. And I did it just not purposely, but that's just how I'm built. And I'm going to try to go against I don't know.
Does Edgar smack you?
He tries. He
got mad at me because he was like, next thing you know, you're going to tell me I can't do the podcast, because he's like, I got to take off my bracelet and I can't shake the table and I can't use my hands like this, and he's like, bro, you're killing my vibe.
Yeah, man. It just doesn't work that way.
Don't be authentic, you, John, okay?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, don't be me. Perfect. I'll do a great job of that.
The other thing, John, is somebody on the Instagram Live the other day said that you haven't gone on a little rant in a while. And I think today's podcast is the perfect tee up, right? We're going to give what the audience wants. They want John on a rant. So we did the podcast script and we're like, oh, this is all John today. Like Zach and I can just sit back and enjoy the show.
No promises, because I'm still not 100%, but we'll see. We'll see. Usually as my juices start to flow and I get into it.
2 seconds into it, you're going to be like slamming your hands and shaking the table.
I'll tell you my mentality is, when you're doing the intro and he goes the fastest netter in the West, I go, well, we got to update that, because as I'm aging, I am far from fast when it comes down to netting. I think I got to have a new title than that. I don't think I can live up to it anymore.
Remove my whistle from now on and update it.
Yeah.
Now you've been hitting the gym a lot, so maybe you'll start getting a lot more whistles, right, John?
Gray beard and wrinkles from hanging out with you guys.
Yeah. I do want to say, when Zach was here, so right above my screen right here, I have the picture, John, that they took of us when we did the first cover for the magazine. And Zach came over and he looked at it and he went, holy cow, look at John, how young he looked. And we were trying to figure it out, dude. No, I kid you not, man. Like, you look really okay. I'm about to do something that I shouldn't do, but I'm going to do it anyways. Let's see if this works. So everybody just bear with me. Let me see if I can do this nicely, and let's see if I have enough, but let's see if I can come up enough. Hold on. Let me see if I can do this without kind of.
Younger, don't I?
It's the beard.
What are you zooming into right there? Jesus. Yeah, I do look younger, that's for sure.
You look like you're out of high school.
Dude, I was in my 30s back then, dude.
Yeah, but 39 don't count. You can't kind of go, that was 39 and it went to 40.
Dude, come on, don't take it away from me.
It was crazy. Hey, really quick over here, I want to give a shout out. Janie, good morning. Ken Morris, what's going on, brother? Jeanette, good morning. Zachary, good morning. North Bay Water Services and Pool Services and Repair, good morning from NoCal. Definitely big shout out there. Janie is saying that you're aging like fine wine, but I think she might be biased.
Poor baby. I love her. She's my biggest cheerleader. Mama, we might have to go get another
without your glasses?
We might have to go get another prescription. It's time for another prescription, babe.
Oh, anyways. All right, guys, let's kind of get through a couple things here really quick so we can get started, because believe it or not, I'm excited to listen to today's podcast because I'm going to be able to enjoy it. At the show, there's so many things going on that John was doing his presentation and I was looking at focusing on other things. So I want to be able to sit and enjoy this podcast today. First thing right off the bat is we have a RAPAC boot camp May 17th in Oxnard, California. At their headquarters. Registration is open. You can go to poolnation.com and you can register. I want everybody to know that this is a 201 class. So this is a live heater class. And in this environment, in their hot room, they're going to have live heaters. They have water run through them. They are on. And so this is an advanced class that they're going to go through a lot of diagnostics. They're going to pull out the heat exchangers out of these heaters, and you're going to completely tear those things apart. I know that they do some 101 in the hot rooms. This is a special class that we did with them with regards to the boot camp. And so it is an advanced class. So for everybody that's out there that wanting to take that class, go to poolnation.com. You could register. John is also going to be doing a specialty water chemistry class. And this is going to be really a hands-on class. I know that we a lot of times don't let John completely geek out into water chemistry, but if John, he could go into the deep end, no pun intended, very quickly, and he geeks out. And I'm actually excited about that class as well. John, you want to talk a little bit about what some of the things you're going to do in that class?
I'm still trying to figure it out. I haven't planned it all out yet. Usually.
Yeah, you gave me some really good ideas that I was excited about yesterday.
No, for real. Look, this one is going to be a little different. We've all taken chemistry classes and we've all hopefully done our research and read up on how to properly maintain pool water. But Unfortunately, sometimes some of the scenarios or some of the things that we face as pool professionals in the backyard isn't necessarily reality, right? The things that we read in the book isn't necessarily reality. So I'm going to do a little bit of a different approach where it's going to be more of pool chemistry by pool guide, right? In the backyard, and what we find is realistic, what's feasible, what we find most effective, and how to properly maintain a vessel, the safety of the bathers, the aesthetics, the beauty of the pool, tips, tricks, things that you can integrate into your service that'll help make your life a lot easier, how to properly test water, what to test for, when to test it, how often to test for it, and what to do with that information once you have it. I'm a big proponent of Bob Lowry and his teachings. I 100% believe in LSI, but I also believe that there's a better way of doing it, and target chemistry is one of them. And I'm briefly going to be focusing and talking about target chemistry and how, if as a pool professional in the backyard, if you understand that and you focus on that, it'll make your life a lot easier, and it'll demystify the whole LSI issue that some people have when they go into the backyard. And then on top of that, since we're going to also be doing the heater 201, we're going to go into detail, hopefully with some props, some examples showing you the effect that we have on the preservation of the equipment in the backyard. Too many times we just don't really understand or see the effect that we have on the longevity or the life of the pump, filters, joints, heaters, right? Exchangers, lights, everything come into play. And we play a big role in that. And understanding how to properly preserve that equipment will help elevate you or differentiate you from the competition, because you'll have a better understanding as a whole. Too many times, we do something in the backyard and we don't see an immediate issue from it, but over time it becomes, at the end of the day, if we can do something to prevent or to, like I say, preserve the equipment, it's our responsibility as the professional that they hire to do so. So those are some of the things that we're going to be talking about. It's going to be something that I haven't seen before in the industry, and it's something that I think is really important that we talk about it. And then, of course, I love taking questions and having open discussions and talking about personal and real world scenarios that each and every one of you might be facing, that hopefully if we put our heads together, we can come up with a way to help you through whatever issues you might be having in the backyard. So I'm excited about it. Looking forward to it. It's going to be 3 hours, I believe, right? Of good talks. So those of you that haven't had a class with me before, I'm sorry if you're going to take it. No, just kidding. It'll be fun, I promise. It won't just be a PowerPoint presentation, but that's pretty much it in a nutshell.
Do you have a PowerPoint for it, or no? It's completely...
No, I don't know. I'm going to put some things together and I'm going to give it to you, and you're going to make it nice and pretty. And, and that's usually how it works.
You know what I appreciate is I appreciate the heads up. That's all. You know,
that's what I
appreciate
do.
It's all good.
I do go off on tangents sometimes, and then we might be on one topic and then we end up spending 2 hours on one topic and then I don't get to the rest. So if I at least have something up there, then I'll know. And then hopefully I can keep time and we can get through all the content. But for those of you that have already signed up, looking forward to talking and seeing you guys there. We have a few spots left. If you guys are interested, make sure you jump on the website, poolnation.com, get up there and reserve your seat, because I promise you will walk away with something for sure.
Absolutely. Absolutely. A couple of things on here. John, will you be discussing the acidity in the water and how it affects the equipment?
100%. That's exactly what we're going to be talking about. That's part of preservation of the equipment, right? And one of the things that you cannot undo is erosion. You can scale things and fix it chemically or mechanically, and it should be avoided. And we're going to go through ways to help prevent that from happening. But overdosing a pool or having corrosive water, it's like the cancer. You're slowly killing whatever piece of equipment that water's running through, and especially a heat exchanger. And not only a heater, but you're destroying the plaster as well, because that metal goes into water. And yes, we are going to be discussing that. And hopefully we're going to have some examples. Spoke to our friends over at Raypack, and them being a manufacturer of heaters and heat pumps, they've seen it all. We're looking to get some actual units to where you guys can see the difference between properly maintained water chemistry, naturally aging and deteriorating copper, and bad water chemistry and what it does to it. So those are some of the things we're going to be talking about for sure.
Yep. And people's asking also on how calcium affects the inside of the heater. Absolutely. John just talked about it. It will be a great class. And what's important really is to learn about both and the damage that you could do so quickly, right? Because a lot of people always think that, oh, the damage is really over time. It's going to take months. It's going to take years. And depending on how bad it is, you could do some damage very quickly.
Yeah. Sometimes it could take years. Sometimes it literally can just take a couple months. It all just depends. We've seen it all. But what's important is that we have an understanding and we know what we're doing and what we're causing. And there's tips and tricks and ways to do it, to do things that doesn't affect it or minimizes the attack on the equipment and the metals in the water. And we're going to be discussing that as well. Because we understand time's money, right? And sometimes you're in the backyard, you're busy, you got 10 pools in front of you and you're running out of daylight. And sometimes you might think, I'm going to get a little lazy here. I need to cut a corner or do something like that. Or this is an easy way. I'm going to tell you, in the long run, it doesn't make any sense. It'll end up hurting you. And we're going to talk about all that. And the thing is, we're going to be real too, right? There's no BS that's going to be thrown your guys' way. There's nothing that you guys are going to talk about that I haven't, you know what I mean? I'm out there in the field every single day with each and every one of you. So I've seen it all and I've done it all, and it'll be fun.
Absolutely. So looking forward to that. So everybody, whoever's interested, go to poolnation.com. You can register there. And that's going to be May 17th. It'll be 9 to about 4:30. If you have any questions, reach out to us. The other thing that we're going to be doing is the Women's Summits on August 28th and 29th. More details on that coming soon. And then we have one more thing that we're going to be unveiling here pretty soon that we'll be talking about. And I'll be looking forward to sharing that, right, Zach? That'll be our next podcast.
Yeah.
That'll be our next podcast next Friday. So everybody, we are going to be out. I'm going to be out next week. I'm headed over to Puerto Rico. Going to go visit my grandmother. She is going to be 101. So getting out there to go visit her. She's doing not so great in health, but I'll be out there from the 20th to the 25th. We'll be back next Friday. John, one more thing. What are your thoughts on draining a pool halfway once a year to help control LSI or TDSs?
I think that is an extreme tactic. You shouldn't have to drain half the pool water yearly in order to maintain proper water chemistry, right? I think it's a waste of water, to be honest. You shouldn't have to do that. But if it's necessary, then you got to. It is what it is. There could be some places where you got just poor, or you're on well water, and the water that's going in or that's filling up the pool is well water, or it's just a bunch of crap that's going in there, and you need to bring RO water in when they initially filled it, or they initially did the pool, and the water that's topping it off is well water, and you have to dilute it. Then I can see on extreme cases like that where you might need to, but no, half the water every year, not necessary. And we're going to go over certain metrics and things you test for that will help determine whether or not the water needs to be changed, and what you can do physically by mechanically removing things or chemically removing it, or last case scenario is diluting and throwing away the water. And then we'll also go through how often the water should be changed. Water doesn't last forever. It's essentially a big bathtub, and there's only so much filtration and chemicals you can add to it, where you just can't get the water to look good. You can't get chlorine to hold well, and it doesn't become very appealing for anybody swimming in it. And truthfully, it can become unsafe. At times you do need to drain it. We tell our customers and clients too that roughly you got to look at it about every 3 years or so. We're going to be dumping this water based on the usage and what we test for. But I don't think you have to drain the pool halfway every year in order to maintain proper LSI.
All right. So let's see here. So we have that. We're going to be announcing that next week. John, are you ready for your podcast? So far, it's all been about John, and John has
talking about this. I'm like, dude, all I'm doing is just chibber jabbing about a couple different things, and it's.
John has no idea that we have him set for him to talk. Are you ready to roll, Zach?
I'm ready.
Zach's like, I'm ready. You know how his good mornings were, John? He was like, yeah, good morning, I'm doing good. And then he hasn't said anything else ever since. He hasn't even done the encouragement. That's right, John. Yeah, like he has not even done the little thing to just get you fired up.
I don't know why you guys keep pumping this up as like this big old special podcast or something like that. Hopefully I don't disappoint here. I'm just going to be talking about a couple things.
I think we're making him nervous.
No,
you're making me nervous.
I mean, all right, let's go.
So All right, here we go. So, John, I took the classes that you guys did at the Western Pool and Spa Show and just loved them. On the profit class, John was talking about taking over new accounts, but I had to take a call. Can you have him talk about it? I would love to catch it all. So just to kind of cue everybody up, at the Western Pool and Spa Show, we did talk about a class with a customer and a profit approach to your business and your customers. And so there was 5 things that John talked about with regards to focusing on the profitability in your customers and those 5 things that you should do first. What we're going to do is we're going to have John do a recap of those points that he did over at the Western Pool and Spa Show. So John, when you started talking about those points, the very first one that we talked about was obviously the taking over the new accounts. Can you talk a little bit about that and how you look at that?
Sure. Do you want to, shall we do our middle break before we get into this and then end it? Or are we going to end it and then how do you want to do this?
Let's hit the first point.
Sure.
And then we'll take a break from our sponsors and then we'll kind of come back and hit the other points.
The way I look at, and again, I'm going to summarize here. We're not going to go into complete detail, but I'm sure I'm probably going to go off the deep end on a few of them and get into detail. But the goal is we're going to summarize these points. And then what we're going to do is memorialize them by later on next month or so when we shoot them at the studio. And then we're going to put them up on the app. So everybody has them and we're going to clearly define them. So forgive me if I'm going on a rant with 1 or 2 of them. But as far as acquiring a new client and the way we look at it in our whole approaches, and I think for the majority, this is a very tried and true and successful approach for any business looking to acquire, bring on new clients is 1, first and foremost, understanding your identity and who you are as a company, what type of company you are and what type of service you're going to be providing. And when I say that, don't confuse it with, I'm a pool company, I'm going to be providing pool service, right? That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about what type of company are you? Because you can go buy a cheeseburger at 50,000 different places. You can go get steak at 50,000 different places, right? But you're going to get a different experience based off of what your perception of that business is and what you expect when you walk into the front door. You can, if you're going to go get a steak, and I use this example all the time, you're going to walk into a Sizzlers or wherever and go get a steak or a Black Angus or whatever it may be, Longhorns. And then you want to walk into like a Del Frisco's or to a Ruth Chris or something. Your expectation is completely different because they have branded themselves as being a certain type of business. So before you start taking on new customers, or when you start your business or your company, you need to understand your identity and who you are, right? Whether if you're a budget service, whether if you're a premium service, whether if you're fast and quick or however it may be. And it all starts before the phone call. It really goes down to the name that you pick for yourself, right? Your company. When people hear your name, what message does it send to that potential client that is calling you? If our company, we included flawless, right? Flawless is a pretty bold term to include in your business name. And we did that on purpose, right? Because we want to send a message that our service and our company, we are flawless at what we do. And we're confident and we are premium. And the purpose of it is because we like to weed out, or we like to attract a type of client or customer that is looking for the best of the best, because that's what we're positioning ourselves to be. The other thing is your branding and how you look, your uniforms, the trucks that you have, the wraps that your trucks, are they wrapped correctly? Do they have your branding correctly? Stuff like that. So those are some of the bases that all play into acquiring a new customer. But for the majority, it's hard to really put a dollar amount on that or to see an ROI on that, because you don't necessarily get it immediately. In the long run, it pays off those things because it sets a tone with the client and it saves you time in the future. But for the most of us, we consider client acquisition at first contact, right? And first contact is usually via your website, Yelp, Google reviews, Google search, and then ultimately turns into a phone call. And that phone call is where everything really starts, because you've heard the saying where, first impressions are the most important, and somebody will sum someone up in a matter of 30 seconds, how they feel about that person, whether they not necessarily trust them, but whether they can trust them, or they're trustworthy, or they think that they're trying to sell them, or they think they're an idiot, or whatever it may be. So our first point is, hey, look, when somebody calls, pick up the damn phone, because the majority of companies out there, and be quite amazed to know that hardly anybody ever picks up their phone, especially in our industry. And the reason why is you call a AC company, you call an electrician usually, or a construction company, stuff like that, where they have buildings, offices, and they have a rep or they have an office manager or a receptionist there. Their job is solely to be there and answer a phone. Where the majority of pool guys and gals are single polers out in our industry, right? And we're out there grinding every single day, and we don't have the luxury of having an office person to answer the phone. We're one of the industries where people will constantly call, and they'll filter through 10 different companies before somebody picks up the phone. And it's just by chance, because you picked up the phone, you have the opportunity to land this client. Our first thing is when you're open for business and somebody calls, pick up your phone. If you're busy, if you can't answer it, and they leave a message, make sure you return that phone call, regardless of what it is, simply because, again, you want to set an image that you're professional and your company's professional and that you're going to take care of them. If you don't answer the phone, if you don't respond to a text message, if you don't get back to them, you're immediately sending the wrong message with that client, and you're fighting an uphill battle from the very beginning. The other part of the initial contact is we all like to, especially depending on where your journey's at, we get hungry and we're looking for accounts. We want to grow. We want to get more. So we tend to fall into a position to where how do I put it? We're actively selling ourselves to them, right, on the phone, opposed to being the solution provider for the person that's calling you. So where we're hungry, we want or we need another account. So we tend to fall into pitfalls where we'll start quoting people over the phone or giving them prices or making over promising and not truly being able to deliver on it. I want to say pump the brakes on that. Regardless of where you're at in your journey, you don't want to be that guy or that gal. You want to establish rapport with them at first. You want to listen to everything that they have to say, ask questions as far as like why they're calling you, what needs they have, right? And leave it open for them to explain everything to you. And it does one of two things. One, it builds trust between the two of you. And then it allows you to filter through a lot of the garbage that you get phone calls. 6 out of 10 calls that I get are crap, or people that we don't want to talk to, people that we don't want to do business with, people that aren't our type of clientele, or people that are just nasty. And the only way we really can determine that is by allowing them to talk. Give them enough rope, they'll hang themselves. It's usually, is the saying. And we do that with clients all the time. And you ask simple questions like that, or why, and and you find out why they're looking for a pool service. And once you get over that initial portion of it and you want to continue and move forward, what we like to do is establish an understanding that we like to say this, we are not the cheapest pool service company in the Valley, but we are one of the best. And along with that, our prices are according. And I explain to every client that we talk to that we have a minimum price for us to go into the backyard. And that minimum price, because there's always going to be a question of how much is it? How much do you guys charge? How much do you guys charge? That's the question you always get asked. I can't tell you what unless I see the property. There's a lot of things that go into consideration when we price a pool. It's not a number we just throw out and hope it sticks on the wall. We have a minimum that we charge for our weekly service, and I can tell you what that is. And this minimum is X amount, and it doesn't matter if you have a 5,000-gallon pool or a 10,000-gallon pool, if it's just a spa or whatever it may be. This is what our price is, our admission ticket for us to go to your backyard, for us to service it. And then from there, it goes up based off of how the pool's being used, the backyard, the location, access, foliage, you know what I mean? Is it an Airbnb, rental? Do dogs swim in it? The age of the equipment, all those things play a factor. And then we explain it to them and say, but we'll be able to determine all that once we come out and we meet in person so that I can answer any questions that you might have. And regardless of whether you go with us or not, I'll be able to guide you in the right direction, And at that point, I'll be able to give you a price. And then from there, if you want to move forward, we can move forward. And that's how we go about our initial contact and how we start acquiring new customers.
Absolutely love it. And by the way, Zach, I don't know if it happened for you. There was a couple times that I wanted to jump in, but he was on such a roll that I'm like, you know what? Yeah. So it's a tendency of
And that's just a summary of it. It's a lot more than that, but it's just
no, absolutely. Hey guys, let's do this. Let's take a quick word from our sponsors. When we come back, I want John to jump into the next point that we talked about. We'll be right back.
The Hyper Pole from Ultimate Pool Tools is a pool care pole designed by pool professionals for pool professionals, featuring precision-crafted carbon fiber and stainless steel construction. Go to ultimatepooltools.com or Instagram at Ultimate Pool Tools. Pool pros have specific needs when it comes to general liability insurance. The SPPA program has you covered. With 3 tailored and customizable general liability options, SPPA makes it easy for pool pros to feel secure. Find out more and get covered at thesppa.com. Now available, Pool Invoice. Pool Invoice is a pool billing software created specifically for the pool service and repair industry. It's developed for our industry and only our industry. Pool Invoice is built with recurring billing in mind. You can print, email, text invoices, or even send via WhatsApp. You can add reoccurring or yearly charges, accept credits, and set up autopay. You can even see when customers have seen the invoice. It even has a customer portal where they can log in and see, print, and pay invoices. It has all your customers' information on one page, so you don't need to search through hundreds of invoices looking for the one you need. Just go to the customer profile and it's all at your fingertips. Created specifically for the pool industry, Pool Invoice. Now available at poolinvoice.com. Blu-ray XL is the power of minerals working for you. Reduce your overall chemical costs and labor up to 50% guaranteed. Whether you have 20 accounts or 20,000, Blu-ray XL's direct pricing and free shipping to the pool trade have you covered. Improving pool professionals' profit and work-life balance is what they do. Blu-ray XL, the real mineral purifier. Visit them at BluRayXL.com.
Blu-ray all day.
Aquastar's new pipeline cartridge filters, available in 2 sizes, deliver top-notch hydraulic efficiency along with best-in-class filtration performance, approaching that of DE filters. Uniquely designed, open pleat spacing means 100% of the media square footage is usable. And these claims are backed by NSF test results. Designed with the pro's time and comfort in mind, the patented double locking system improves safety and ease of access, making filter cleaners faster than ever before. Available now. Ask your supplier for pipeline filters today.
Natural Chemistry, a leader in specialty water care solutions for over 30 years, is proud to provide products that make pool service easier than ever before. Its unique enzyme formulations in Pro Series Pro Blend improve efficiency of your pool program while reducing frequency of filter cleaning and scum lines. Natural Chemistry is also well known for its wide variety of phosphate removal solutions that include a non-clouding formula in Phos-Free and extremely high-range removal with Pro Series Phos Remove or Phos-Free Max. Save time, save money, save work with Pro Series products. Stop sacrificing durability or efficiency with the help of Raypak's new Avia HD models that utilize NITEC, their exclusive industry-first technology. NITEC heat exchanger technology is Raypak's latest solution to superior strength and maximum efficiency when it comes to residential pool heating. With 900% more nickel compared to copper nickel in critical surfaces, NITEC creates an ideal surface to protect against scale formation and erosion without compromising on Avia's 84% thermal efficiency. Learn more at raypak.com/NITEC. The next evolution in lighting is here. Universal Color Logic 2.0 from Hayward. The latest in pool and spa lighting was designed with you in mind, making installation a breeze. Upgrades include a detachable cord and first-of-a-kind adjustable lower catch to overcome variations in plaster thickness. As always, Universal Color Logic lights retrofit into virtually any in-ground pool or spa while delivering industry-leading, vibrant color. Visit Hayward.com to discover more.
Welcome back, everybody, to the Pool Nation Live podcast. We continue our conversation with our boy JJ. We're talking about taking over new accounts. We're talking about on-site inspections, terms of service, maintaining pool equipment, and then obviously the big one, upselling pool equipment there at the end. So,
yeah, and I think you talked about taking over new accounts and you started to segue into the on-site inspections. And I think this is something that's super important. It's something that we learned Because when we originally started, we were just doing the over the phone thing, and we quickly saw the importance of this next point that you're about to go over. I'm going to turn it over to you on the on-site inspections.
Yeah, so I dipped into it a little bit, and I'm going to get a little bit more into detail as far as on-site inspections and how important they are. One thing we knew, a lot of companies have had the issue in the past or continue to have this practice where they do quotes over the phone and they pick up quotes via telephone, right? Or at best, they'll say, hey, send me a picture of the pool and then I'll give you a price. Though that's a little better than not seeing the pool, I want to stress to everybody the importance of how critical it is that you as a company go out to the property and actually physically see and touch and look at the equipment you're going to service and that you're going to commit to maintain and take care of, because there are a lot of hidden costs involved in pool care that if you don't get to see some of the things that are happening at that pad, it will cost you a lot of money moving forward simply because you failed to notice it or to build that into the price or let the customer know what needed to happen. And that what ends up happening with that is one of two things. One, you're working for free, or it's costing you to work because now you quoted a pool at X amount and it's costing you this much and you're barely breaking even on it. What's the purpose of even doing it? And then as a business owner, that if you're doing them yourself, it's making you not feel good about walking into that backyard and put you in a pretty terrible mood. But if you have an employee, then as far as like morale for that employee as well, giving them a crap pool to take care of that you're not making any money off of, that's good for anybody. And the long-term ramifications far outweigh that extra whatever you're going to be making, that extra account that you're going to be picking up. Going out and doing the on-site inspections, and I want to play devil's advocate, and I hear you when people say time is money as well too, and they don't have time to go out there and do those inspections. But if you follow some of the steps that I spoke about in the previous topic about acquiring new customers, you will essentially filter out the majority of those failed quotes, right? Where I know when I go into a backyard, if we've reached the point where I'm walking to the backyard and we've set an appointment and I'm going to take time out of my day and take time out of that client's day for us to meet up, right? Get our schedules and our calendars to align, for us to go out there and to have an on-site inspection and to spend whether it's 15 minutes, 30 minutes, however long it may be of our time not making money, the close rate for us is very high, right? I can safely say that we close 8 out of 10 accounts when we go out there into the backyard. When we first started, that might have been 2 out of 10 or 3 out of 10, right? Simply because I didn't have the wisdom and the experience and didn't really have the technical know-how when it came down to pools and understanding them. That was my failure at the beginning. But now, like I said, we close 80, 90% of every client we go out there. So I know it's a shoo-in. And the reason why I don't close those other 2 clients is because I go out to that backyard and I decide, hey, I don't want this account. This is an account that I don't want. We have the mentality, and this is what I want people to start changing their mindset when they go to the backyard. And I touched on it a little bit prior to this. Don't be the company that is, hey, I'll give you whatever you want, just hire me, right? Or yeah, we'll do it for this. How much do they charge? 150? Okay, we'll charge $130 and we'll do it. Or I'll match them or whatever, just to try to get the account. Change your mindset. And when you walk into the backyard, this is what we do. From the minute I take off from wherever I'm at to drive there, I'm immediately thinking and watching and driving where I'm going, how long it's going to take for me to get there, what country club it is, whether it needs a transponder, how deep into the country club it might be. Is it next to the freeway where we have all these sand dunes, right? And when the wind is the worst, out in this area where we get clobbered, location is very important. All these things we take into consideration before we get out of the truck, whether or not we want to take them. And I have a list. And when I walk into the backyard, I'm back there trying to figure out why I don't want this property. Not so much how I can land it, but why I don't want to service this pool. And if my dad used to tell me when I was a kid, and we would talk, about friendship or about anything in life, he's like, look, get a piece of paper, write all the pros and the cons. And if the pros outweigh the cons, then move forward. If the cons outweigh the pros, then end it. Friendships, people, decisions, work, anything like that. That's how you're going to approach your life. And I do the same thing too in the backyard. I have my pros and my cons. And if There's some things that are non-negotiables and that we just say, look, these are the things that I just won't settle for. I don't care how much money I charge you and you'll pay for it. It's just not going to be worth it for us. So when we walk up from there, when we ring the doorbell, as far as how friendly they are, we look at it like, do they offer for us to walk in through the house? Even though if they do, we'll deny and say, no problem, I can walk through the back. All those little things to me make a difference. If they treat you like a servant, like a piece of crap right off the beginning, did they forget that you even had an appointment at that time and you luckily caught them there and they're like, oh yeah, I forgot. You know what I mean? Oh, who are you again? Those types of things in my mind are like red flags. I want to deal with this person. Is your house disheveled? Is it not well kept? Does the front yard look like crap when we walk to the backyard? Is there a bunch of dog shit everywhere? You know what I mean? Is everything like all stacked up there where we can't get through? Is where the equipment's at? All these little things that we look into, and I go and I make mental notes and stuff and do that kind of stuff. And then we go through all like the physical portions of it. And then that's about, I'd say 40% of what we take into consideration, maybe even 30% actually, because leaking pumps, leaking pipes, dirty pools, inadequate equipment, insufficient equipment, old school technology, stuff like that, that is no big deal. To me, that's dollar signs, right? I go, look, I can make this experience for them a lot better. We can sell them a better experience. I can upgrade. I can fix this. These are the types of things we can do. I have no problem with that. The 70% portion of it is the emotional connection that I have with the client and what type of person they are and the respect that we have between each other. And the way I determine that is simply, like I said, on the phone, is let them talk. Now we're on site face to face. You can see body movement. You can see body language. You can see how they talk. And you just open it up and say, hey, look, let me know, why. The first thing I say is, okay, Mr. and Mrs. da-da-da-da, let's talk a little bit about why I'm here today. What do you need from us? What can we do for you? Did you have pool service before, a new pool? We already have that established, but usually 9 out of 10 times I have a pool guy that doesn't show up, that doesn't do a good job. He's only here X amount, or every month there's something that needs to be fixed. And I think he's trying to rip me off, or I don't think he knows what he's doing, or there's a different person in my backyard every single day, or they don't show up when they say they're going to show up. Those are all the common excuses and things that you hear, which are valid and which unfortunately happens a lot, but you just open it up and let them talk about it. And again, let them tell you everything. And then after that spiel that they give you or their story, you have to also take into consideration that, again, it's human nature that anytime you are giving an argument or you're trying to prove a point, you're always going to skew things to your favor regardless. And every backyard that I go to, the pool guy was the worst pool guy in the whole world. And the truth is, a lot of times it's not necessarily the pool guy, it's the client that's the problem. And you can save yourself a lot of headache and a lot of grief if you're able to determine that. And you can find a way to know, hey, look, who's the real problem here? If you've been through 6 or 7 pool guys or pool girls, something's going on here. There's an issue. And chances are it's probably not the pool company, it's the client. And at that point, I have to determine whether it's something that we want to take on, because we're getting deeper into this, right? But this is reality here. Is it a matter of their ignorance, right? Is it just because they're ignorant, or is it because they are a pain in the ass, right? And a lot of times these clients, they just don't know better. And it's because we fail as professionals to explain properly how or why things need to happen or what needs to be done with their pool. Or it could be a lack of education or knowledge or confidence that the pool guy or pool girl has in the backyard. And because of that, the client feels that they're not doing their job just simply because whatever it may be. So all that I take into consideration when we do these on-site inspections. We talk, the backyard has a lot to play with it, the bather load, who's using it, whether it's being rented, stuff like that. But all that has dollar amounts. I know if it's an Airbnb, I'm going to charge X more amount of money. I know if it's a heavily used Airbnb, I might need to do twice a week. I know, and it's going to cost this much. I know if it's an 8,000 gallon pool, and I know when these people rent these homes out and they have 10, 12 people there, and I got 12 people in an 8,000 gallon pool that are drunk and partying and doing whatever they're doing. And I'm looking at their 200 square foot filter, or I'm looking at a no salt system, no chemical feeding. I'm looking at an out of date automation system or whatever. Then I'm looking at that and going, okay, I need to take these things into consideration, and I need to explain to them, hey, look, based off of the needs and what you're using it for, I think your pool's just getting overwhelmed. And a lot of times that's what happens is, look, you can be the greatest pool guy in the world, but if you got 15 people pissing in that pool 7 days out of the week, and that pool guy is only there once a week or twice a week, I don't care how great he is with this equipment, it's just not going to work. You know what I mean? You just can't do it. So if you're going to continue to do this, or you're going to continue to book and have this, then we need to do chemical automation, right? We need to upgrade your filters. We need to get a better pump. We need to add ozone. We need to add UV. We need to add a road, whatever it may be, so that we can set your pool up so that it works for itself and that it doesn't turn into this mess. And that's the reason why you're having these issues or whatever. So we also use that as an opportunity to go through what work needs to be done or what upgrades need to be done. And if they're receptive to that, then that also changes our perspective, because, okay, if they're willing to put the money in, because we all have clients that have issues, blaring issues out there, and okay, he told you about it, but you're not willing to put the money in to fix it. What's the difference between you, right? Why are they going to do it for you? Yeah, that's the why the pool's cloudy, or that's the why he's having a hard time maintaining chems because of this and that, and you're not putting the money in. Now, of course, I won't tell them that, but I take that into consideration. Then I'll politely at the end, okay, well, let us put a quote together, or let us think about this and look at our schedule and see what we can come up with. And then at the end, I can send them a text or an email and say, unfortunately, we're not going to be able to take it on, There's other companies out here, blah, 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 whatever. And we let them down. Sometimes I've even been in the backyard and I've told them, I go, look, I wouldn't even touch your pool. You know what I mean? I go, there's no way on earth that I would touch your pool. Sometimes we're in the backyard and I tell them, hey, look, you need to redo your landscaping if you want us to service and maintain your pool. And I know that sounds drastic and crazy, but we've had people actually remodel their backyard and remove, spend tens of thousands of dollars to remove stuff, so that not necessarily just for us to pick up service for them, but because they didn't understand that's the reason why they've had such a terrible experience with their pool, is because of their backyard. And there's nothing you can do to keep that pool looking good. And regardless of whether you go with us or not, if you do this, you're going to have more of a pleasant swimming experience. So that pretty much lines up our on-site inspections and what we do and how we go about it.
So we go through the steps, and we talk about obviously acquiring the customers, and we talk about the next steps. Obviously, you get to the point where you've looked at those backyards and come on, we all did it at the beginning, right? We all took those backyards because we needed the money. We thought that we needed it. And I remember taking over pools with bougainvilleas all the way over the right and the left side, thinking that I could do it. And then later down the road, a couple different things, right? You have constant issues, the pools are trash, and then you end up just going, man, I screwed up, right? I really shouldn't have taken that. So it's really important to take all those things into account. And John, just to let you know, we're already an hour in. So I think one of the things that we should do is we should talk about the next one, because I think the next one's really important to tap into the steps of it, right? Now you've decided, yes, I'm going to take over this account. We've kind of agreed to whatever, it met all my criteria. So let's talk about the next one. And then what we'll do is on the next 2 points, we'll probably talk about those on the next podcast. But you've made the decision now to take over that pool. What's the next step or key point that everybody should be looking at? Okay,
so the next step is what we need to do is have a clear understanding of our commitment and the agreement between the service that we provide, and the clear expectations between the client and us. Too many times, and it's happened before in the past with us at the very beginning, and it's something that I never wanted to ever put myself in a position again, is you have a conversation with somebody, you say something verbally, and even though you thought you said it, or you did say it, or you could have sworn you said it, for some reason, oh, I don't remember you telling me that, right? Or I don't remember, well, what's this? Or what's that cost? Or why are you charging me this? Or you didn't say I had to do that. And I'm like, well, we definitely spoke about this, right? And we found the easiest way to avoid all that is coming up with the terms of service that clearly just defines everything we talked about. So there's no guesswork. And then if we come to an agreement with the client, what we do is we say, hey, look, okay, great. And I say, give us your email address, your contact information, all the stuff that we need so we can get a hold of you and set you up as a new account. And then we're going to send over a copy of our terms of service for you to review. Please review it. A lot of the points are highlighted in yellow. that we really need you to pay attention to because it is a little lengthy, but we need you to look at those things, agree to them. If you have any questions, feel free to call, text, email, we'll answer them for you, we'll clarify them. And if you don't have any questions and you agree, sign it and return it back to us. That way we can establish what's expected between us. And it covers everything from the days that we show up. If by chance or emergency we can't show up, it covers our vacation. It covers our service call rates, what we charge to go out to repair, to do anything above and beyond maintaining the pool servicing the pool on its weekly scheduled day. It goes over the additional charges that we charge for filter cleanings, for salt cell cleanings. It goes over the additional cost for all the other chemicals that we use when we service the pool, because we explain to them maintaining a pool. There are other technologies or chemicals and minerals that are used that can help enhance the clarity and quality of the water, make it cleaner and safer, and preserve your equipment. Those things cost a lot of money. So what we do is we charge X amount of money 3 times a year, and that covers all those costs. So they have it on, they can put in their mind, he's charging X amount per month. And they get charged this amount every 3 months, this charge every 4 months. And then for the filters and the salt cell cleaning. So they all have an understanding so that when we go to bill, right, it's like clockwork. When we go to bill, we add those every single time. There is no, you didn't talk to me about that, or what is this charge? If you have that paperwork and you explain it to them and you go, oh, it was on the terms, we talked about this. I talked about it in person, which I always usually do. And then we talk, and then obviously it's on the terms of service that they agreed upon. That way, there's no guesswork and there's no anxiety that you get as a business owner. Because I felt it when we first started. Oh, I feel a charge, or are they going to say something or whatever? And it's just like nowadays, it is what it is. We have this clear and understanding. You agreed on it. I agreed on it. I'm keeping my end of the bargain. You keep your end of the bargain now. And that's how business works. And then the other thing it does is it sets you up. It makes you different. And again, you hear this from me all the time, differentiate you from the competition, but that's what you need to do. And these steps help you do that. And having the terms of service makes you look more professional, makes you look like you got your shit together, and makes you look like a company people want to do business with or have been doing business and know what they're doing. Because nobody wants to hire Yahoo or Yo-Yo or whatever. They're going to allow somebody to walk into their backyard, their private space, to take care of a pool, especially if they use it that their children and people are swimming in. They understand the importance of it. They want to have a professional company that they can trust that is in their backyard. That's what we do. That's the next step with our terms of service. And if they sign it and return it, then we move on to the next.
Yeah, and I think it's extremely important to have those terms of service for a lot of different reasons, right? But mainly, especially when you're that single poler, you're new into the industry, you feel like sometimes you're afraid to talk to the customers about your vacation time, or that you take the 4 weeks off, or what those extra charges are. The best thing to do is have that terms of service, because it's there in writing, right? You talked about it. So you met with the customer, you quoted them, you had the conversation. This just reinforces everything that you talked about. And later down the road, that's going to solve a lot of problems for you. And then not only that, you're going to build some confidence off of it once you start using it, because it's, here's my terms of service, here's all the points, and you're not afraid to talk about those to the customer. And then there's not that space for the misunderstanding. What do you think, Zach?
100%. That's something that we, again, learned the hard way in the beginning and we instilled. And it's just, it gives you that confidence in, like John said, knowing that you've stated something and made it clear previously. Because a lot of times people don't remember what they agreed to or whatnot. But if you have that detailed terms of service or service agreement, that it's all spelled out, you can lean on that and remind them, this is something that was in the terms of service. And it gives you that confidence to be able to, with certainty, charge for the things that you should be charging for, and not be in that position that John talked about, because I've been there as well. Man, do I really want to push the issue? It's only X amount of money. Maybe I should just let it go. But then the more you do that, the more you find yourself falling into that pitfall of doing that. It's definitely something that everyone should have in their toolbox.
Absolutely. Were you going to say something, John? No? All right. Hey guys, let's do this. Let's take a quick word from our sponsors. When we come back, I don't think I can take final thoughts from John because he did. Actually, that would be funny. John, give me your final thoughts on your final thoughts.
Right.
So anyways, let's take a word from our sponsors. We'll be right back.
The Hyper Pole from Ultimate Pool Tools is a pool care pole designed by pool professionals for pool professionals, featuring precision-crafted carbon fiber and stainless steel construction. Go to ultimatepooltools.com or Instagram at Ultimate Pool Tools. Pool pros have specific needs when it comes to general liability insurance. The SPPA program has you covered. With 3 tailored and customizable general liability options, SPPA makes it easy for pool pros to feel secure. Find out more and get covered at thesppa.com. Now available, Pool Invoice. Pool Invoice is a pool billing software created specifically for the pool service and repair industry. It's developed for our industry and only our industry. Pool Invoice is built with recurring billing in mind. You can print, email, text invoices, or even send via WhatsApp. You can add recurring or yearly charges, accept credits, and set up autopay. You can even see when customers have seen the invoice. It even has a customer portal where they can log in and see, print, and pay invoices. It has all your customers' information on one page, so you don't need to search through hundreds of invoices looking for the one you need. Just go to the customer profile and it's all at your fingertips. Created specifically for the pool industry, Pool Invoice. Now available at poolinvoice.com. Blu-ray XL is the power of minerals working for you. Reduce your overall chemical costs and labor up to 50% guaranteed. Whether you have 20 accounts or 20,000, Blu-ray XL's direct pricing and free shipping to the pool trade have you covered. Improving pool professionals' profit and work-life balance is what they do. Blu-ray XL, the real mineral purifier. Visit them at BluRayXL.com.
Blu-ray all day.
Aquastar's new pipeline cartridge filters, available in 2 sizes, deliver top-notch hydraulic efficiency along with best-in-class filtration performance, approaching that of DE filters. Uniquely designed, open pleat spacing means 100% of the media square footage is usable. And these claims are backed by NSF test results. Designed with the pro's time and comfort in mind, the patented double locking system improves safety and ease of access, making filter cleaners faster than ever before. Available now. Ask your supplier for pipeline filters today.
Natural Chemistry, a leader in specialty water care solutions for over 30 years, is proud to provide products that make pool service easier than ever before. Its unique enzyme formulations in Pro Series Pro Blend improve efficiency of your pool program while reducing frequency of filter cleaning and scum lines. Natural Chemistry is also well known for its wide variety of phosphate removal solutions that include a non-clouding formula in Phos-Free and extremely high-range removal with Pro Series Phos Remove or Phos Free Max. Save time, save money, save work with Pro Series products. Stop sacrificing durability or efficiency with the help of Raypak's new Avia HD models that utilize NITEC, their exclusive industry-first technology. NITEC heat exchanger technology is Raypak's latest solution to superior strength and maximum efficiency when it comes to residential pool heating. With 900% more nickel compared to copper nickel in critical surfaces, NITEC creates an ideal surface to protect against scale formation and erosion without compromising on Avia's 84% thermal efficiency. Learn more at raypak.com/NITEC. The next evolution in lighting is here. Universal Color Logic 2.0 from Hayward. The latest in pool and spa lighting was designed with you in mind, making installation a breeze. Upgrades include a detachable cord and first-of-a-kind adjustable lower catch to overcome variations in plaster thickness. As always, Universal Color Logic lights retrofit into virtually any in-ground pool or spa while delivering industry-leading, vibrant color. Visit Hayward.com to discover more.
Welcome back, everybody, to the Pool Nation Live podcast. We're talking to John. We're talking to Zach. We're talking about taking over new accounts, on-site inspections. We're talking about terms of service. We had 2 more points that we wanted to talk about, maintaining pool equipment and upsell pool equipment, but we'll hit those on our next podcast here. So, Zach, let me get your final thoughts.
Yeah, so I just kind of want to touch on all of these things that John's been going through here. These are tools to increase your profitability, your efficiency as a business. And I think this is super important because John was mentioning when we first get started, we tend to fall into this cycle of we just want more, we need more, we've got to get more. And in the long run, that ends up leading into a bunch of compounding problems that becomes very time consuming and very difficult to undo. So these steps are simple steps, to be honest, that you can take progressively as you're onboarding a new account, as you're getting all the way from the first inquiry about maintenance all the way to getting them on, that you can really avoid some of these mistakes and set yourself up for success ultimately with that account and a healthier relationship with the customer, because that's what it's all about. And one thing that I've learned is doing these things, it builds trust and it builds a relationship with your customers. And without fail, I talk about it here at work all the time, if we are unable to build a relationship and build some trust with the customers, and there are just some customers that they're quick on the phone, they don't want to talk to you, they don't want to spend the time with you, they are the ones that we see fall off or turn over in a shorter period of time than the rest of the people that we've been able to establish those expectations and build those relationships with.
Man, damn, that was deep, John.
Very neat.
That was good
I've been
stuff.
working on it for an hour and 13 minutes.
He must have caught on that he was going to be the only final thoughts, John. So he's like, oh, I better up my game.
No, you did good. It's good.
You nailed it. You absolutely nailed it. And this is all the stuff that, John, you only learn through experience, right? It's one of those, your parents always tell you what's going to happen. And you're like, yeah, I got it. And then all of a sudden you're like, oh man, that's what they were talking about, right? So it's the same thing with all these processes, right? We all start as pool guys. We kind of all make those mistakes. So for any of the new pool guys that are out there, definitely take these points into consideration, because if you put these into play a lot sooner, it's going to make your journey a lot easier. So anyways, gentlemen, thank you so much. John, I know that you're going crazy with the Coach Fest and then the Stagecoach after that. How many weeks you got left? About a week and a half?
This weekend and then next weekend. So during the week, is there anything, or is it just this weekend, nothing during the weekend, then the weekend? No, you just deal with traffic, everybody leaving, the freeway being backed up for hours and hours and people leaving and coming. That's all. Gotcha.
Anyways, I hope you guys have a great weekend. We will catch you next week on the podcast. Have a great one, guys. Bye-bye.
All right.
See ya.
Thanks for listening to the Pool Nation podcast, a member of the Pool Nation family. You can listen to us live every Friday here at 9 a.m. Pacific, 11 a.m. Central, and 12 noon Eastern Standard Time. You can find us at Pool Nation or poolnationpodcast.com, on Facebook, or on Instagram at pool.nation. And to find more info about Pool Invoice, the billing software built specifically for the pool industry, go to poolinvoice.com. Before you go, this is what the pool industry has been waiting for. PoolmanUniversity.com. It's the first platform dedicated to learning the swimming pool service and repair industry. A pool service community where you can connect and find videos on business, service, water chemistry, and repairs. See you there at PoolmanUniversity.com.